What if building wealth was not complicated at all? What if the reason most people never build real wealth is not that the path is too difficult, but that nobody ever showed them the complete map? Think about that for a moment. Most financial advice you have ever received was a fragment. Save more, invest early, cut your expenses, get out of debt. All of those things are true. All of them are useful, but none of them alone, and not even all of them scattered randomly across your life, adds up to actual wealth. Because wealth is not built by doing one thing right. It is built by doing 5 specific things right, in the right order, with each one supporting the next. Today, we're going to talk about what those 5 things are. Not 5 tips, not 5 habits. 5 foundational pillars that, when built together, create something that no single financial decision, no single income level, and no single market condition can take away from you. This is the wealth blueprint, and it has been sitting in plain sight the entire time. Meet Sana. She is 29 years old, works a good job, reads financial content regularly, has genuinely tried to get her financial life together for the last 4 years. She has a savings account she dips into every few months, a retirement account she opened but barely understands, a credit card she pays off most months, and a vague sense that she is doing some things right but missing something, some thread that would tie all of it together into something that actually works. Sana is not behind. Sana is missing the blueprint. And the moment she sees the complete picture, everything she is already doing starts to make more sense, and everything she is missing becomes obvious. Let us build the blueprint together. The first pillar is protection. Before you can build anything, you need to make sure you cannot lose everything. This sounds obvious, but most people skip this pillar entirely because it feels like it gets in the way of the exciting parts. Saving, investing, growing. They want to start building before they have laid the foundation. And then, one unexpected event, a job loss, a medical emergency, a major repair, wipes out everything they have accumulated and sends them back to zero. Protection has 2 components. The first is an emergency fund, not a savings goal, not money you might use for emergencies someday. A dedicated, untouchable reserve of 3 to 6 months of living expenses that exists for one purpose only, to absorb the unexpected without destroying everything else. Without an emergency fund, every financial plan you build is fragile. One bad month can undo a year of progress. With an emergency fund, bad months are just bad months, not financial catastrophes. The second component of protection is insurance. The right insurance, health, income protection, life if people depend on you, is not an expense. It is the thing that prevents a single event from destroying decades of financial progress. Wealthy people understand this deeply. They use insurance strategically, not to cover every small risk, but to protect against the losses so large they would genuinely threaten everything. Build the foundation first, then build on it. The second pillar is elimination. Before you can build wealth, you need to stop the bleeding. Debt, specifically high-interest debt, is the single most powerful wealth destroyer most people carry. Not because debt is morally wrong, not because borrowing money is always a mistake, but because high-interest debt creates a guaranteed negative return on your money that almost nothing in investing can overcome. Credit card debt at 18 or 20% interest is not a minor inconvenience. It is a machine that works against you 24 hours a day. Every dollar you put into investing while carrying this debt is working against a guaranteed headwind. The math almost never works in your favor. The elimination pillar is simple in concept and genuinely difficult in execution. Identify every high-interest debt you carry, rank them, and direct every available dollar above minimum payments toward eliminating them, fastest growing balance or highest interest rate first, depending on what keeps you psychologically motivated. Here is the insight that makes this pillar feel different. Eliminating debt at 20% interest is a guaranteed 20% return on your money. There is no investment in the world that offers a guaranteed 20% return, not one, which means eliminating high-interest debt is literally the best investment most people can make. It just does not feel like investing because it does not show up in a portfolio. Pay off the machine that works against you, then redirect that same money toward machines that work for you. The third pillar is accumulation. This is the one most people think of when they hear wealth building, saving money, building capital, creating the financial foundation from which everything else grows. But most people approach accumulation backwards. They earn, they spend, they save whatever is left, which is almost always nothing. The accumulation pillar works on one principle: pay yourself first, before bills, before food, before anything else. The moment money arrives, a fixed percentage leaves for accumulation before your brain has any awareness of it. This is not a new idea, but the reason it works so consistently is psychological. Money you never see does not feel like sacrifice. Money you hold in your hand and then decide to save requires overcoming your immediate desires every single month. One of these works. The other relies on willpower. And willpower is finite. The target for accumulation is not a fixed number. It is a percentage. Most wealth builders aim for saving and investing between 15 and 20% of gross income, not net. Gross. Before tax, if possible, through tax-advantaged accounts. This percentage is the engine. The consistency is the fuel. Start wherever you are. Even 5% is a start, and increase by 1% every time your income increases, before your lifestyle has a chance to absorb the difference. The fourth pillar is growth. Saving money is not enough. Money that sits still is slowly losing value to inflation every single year. Growth is what transforms accumulated money into actual wealth over time. Growth comes from investing. And the most important thing to understand about investing is that for most people, the strategy is not complex. The challenge is behavioral. A simple diversified portfolio of low-cost index funds, left alone, added to consistently, and never panic sold during downturns, outperforms the vast majority of actively managed strategies over any 20-year period. This is not an opinion. It is what the data shows repeatedly. The enemy of growth is not the wrong investment. It is the wrong behavior. Panic selling when markets fall. Chasing returns when markets rise. Checking portfolios obsessively and making emotional adjustments. Waiting for the perfect moment to invest and never finding it. The growth pillar requires one mindset shift above all others. Time in the market is more valuable than timing the market. A consistent investor who never makes a clever move, but also never makes a panicked one, will almost always outperform the investor who tries to be smart about when to enter and exit. Invest consistently. Invest in simple, diversified instruments. Reinvest your returns. And leave it alone for as long as possible. Compounding does the rest, but only if you give it time to work. The fifth pillar is optimization. This is the pillar that separates people who build adequate wealth from people who build exceptional wealth, and it is almost entirely invisible to most people. Optimization is about keeping more of what you build. Taxes are the single largest expense in most people's financial lives, larger than housing, larger than food, larger than almost anything else, and yet most people do almost nothing to manage this expense strategically. Tax-advantaged accounts, retirement accounts, health savings accounts, education savings accounts exist specifically to allow ordinary people to reduce this expense legally. Using them fully is not a wealthy person trick. It is a tool available to almost everyone that most people leave almost entirely unused. Optimization also means regularly reviewing your financial products, the insurance premiums that could be lower, the investment fees that compound against you over decades, the subscriptions, accounts, and financial products you pay for but no longer need. Small leaks that individually seem minor but collectively represent enormous amounts of money over a financial lifetime. Wealthy people optimize constantly, not obsessively, but regularly. They treat their finances like a business, reviewing, adjusting, eliminating waste, and ensuring that every part of the system is working as efficiently as possible. Now here is the insight that ties all 5 pillars together. The wealth blueprint is not a sequence you complete once. It is a system you build and maintain simultaneously. You do not finish protection and then move to elimination. You build protection while you eliminate debt. You accumulate while you grow. You optimize everything continuously. And here is what makes the blueprint powerful. Each pillar reinforces the others. Protection makes accumulation possible because you are not constantly rebuilding from zero. Elimination frees up cash flow for accumulation. Accumulation creates the capital for growth. Growth builds the wealth that makes optimization increasingly valuable. And optimization keeps more of everything the other pillars create. Remove any one pillar and the structure weakens. Build all 5 and something genuinely extraordinary becomes possible, not because you are exceptional, but because the system is. Here is your practical takeaway. Honestly assess where you are against each of the 5 pillars right now. Do you have 3 to 6 months of expenses in an untouchable emergency fund? If not, this is your first priority above everything else. Do you carry high-interest debt? If yes, this is your second priority. No amount of investing overcomes a 20% guaranteed negative return. Are you saving and investing a meaningful percentage of your income automatically before you can spend it? If not, set up the automation this week. Not next month. This week. Is your money growing in simple, diversified investments that you are not emotionally managing? If it is sitting in a savings account losing to inflation, move it. And are you optimizing, using available tax advantages, reviewing your financial products annually, eliminating unnecessary costs? You do not need to fix everything at once. You need to know where you are and take the next step in the right direction. Let me bring Sana back. She did not change her income. She did not discover a secret investment strategy. She mapped her financial life against the 5 pillars for the first time and found something clarifying. She had fragments of pillar 3, but no pillar 1. She had started pillar 4 without completing pillar 2. She had never thought about pillar 5 at all. So she built in order. Emergency fund first, 3 months of expenses in a separate account. Then accelerated debt elimination. Then automated investing. Then a single afternoon reviewing tax-advantaged accounts she had never used. 6 months later, her financial life did not look dramatically different from the outside, but the structure underneath it had completely changed. She had a foundation, a system, a direction. The anxiety that used to sit quietly in the back of her mind, that feeling of doing some things right but missing something, was gone, because she finally had the complete map. Here is the thought I want to leave you with. Wealth is not built by people who know more than you. It is built by people who have a clearer picture of what they are building and who make consistent decisions in the direction of that picture. You do not need a higher income. You do not need perfect timing. You do not need to be exceptional at any single financial skill. You need the blueprint, all 5 pillars, built in order, maintained consistently. The complete map has always existed. Now you have it. What you build with it is entirely up to you. If this video gave you clarity you did not have before, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content. And our next video goes deep on Pillar 4. We are breaking down exactly how ordinary people invest their way to financial freedom using the simplest strategy available. No complexity, no clever moves, just the approach that actually works over time.